What's with all the static? On April 25th, 26th, and 27th, Eerie Culture Fest took over the Wyndham Garden Westlake for 3 days of pop culture celebration, their first pop culture show. We had guests from the Mighty Ducks, from Heavyweights. We had the artist behind Courage the Cowardly Dog, the creator of Jingle All the Way, the voice of Peppermint Patty, the creator of Strawberry Shortcake. We had Leslie Hoffman, stuntwoman extraordinaire, J.S. Gilbert, the voice of Sweet Tooth. There were so many great guests. We got to hang out with Jonathan Lipnicki. And I personally was beyond excited to take the opportunity to sit down with Keith Coogan for a conversation about his experiences in movies and more. I even managed to have a surprise for him. Huge thank you to the Miller School of Albemarle for helping me out with this surprise. Eerie Culture Fest 3 is happening September 26th, 27th, and 28th at Wyndham Garden Westlake with a special tribute to Wes Craven. We're going to see you there. We can't wait. At the end of this video, check out the guests that'll be attending. All right, without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy a conversation with Keith Coogan live at Eerie Culture Fest. They probably figured that out.
That's the intro.
This is Brad, Sarah, and Donald. And we're in trouble.
Ain't no doubt. All right. So, if you are here, you know who this gentleman next to me is, I'm sure. Mr. Keith Coogan himself, all the way out from California.
Hi, guys. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Thanks for having a panel. That's great.
Absolutely. I was very excited to have a chance to talk to you. We spoke a little bit yesterday and today, and the one thing that I immediately noticed is you're very detail-oriented. You pay attention to details. Like when we were talking about, you were telling me some of the animation stuff for Fox and the Hound. It was blowing my mind. We're kind of spoiled nowadays. Like we're expecting fancy whatever, and some of the things you're saying about how they did the smoke, the truck.
Right. It was cel-drawn animation, and they had just started to reach into using other tools. Yeah. And there was a little computer assist on some smoke in the badger den. And I thought that Rescuers Down Under was the first computer animation in a Disney picture, but apparently they'd used a little in a weird way. Mm-hmm. And in the plotting of the truck, of the hunter's truck, they had used a wireframe model of it, and like dotted out, and then turned that in front, and took a bunch of pictures of it and stuff, and used that to animate it. But they used the same technique just with computers in Rescuers Down Under. Yeah. And another thing about like Adventures of Babysitting used Intravision, which was for about 5 years. It was a really great way to do stuff. It was front projection. And they did stuff like Fugitive, the train crash sequence, Stand By Me when the train is about to run them over. The whole movie Outland with Sean Connery used this technique. And it's that on the roads when you see the reflective material on a sign and it like kind of bounces your headlights right back into your eyes, there's a backdrop that is made of that material. And then the camera has a 45-degree mirror in front of it, one-way mirror, the camera is the projector of the background plate. And then your skin and your wardrobe it absorbs and it doesn't reflect back into the lens. And in camera on film, remember this is not digital, this is with film, you have no matte lines, no blue screen, and it plays in dailies the next day and it can be cut right into your picture. We shot Adventures of Babysitting January, February, March. It came out July. They only did 3 months of post-production on that. So I love those now. Now they take 6 to 12 months to do something like that. Yeah, right. For color correcting and doing it was so much harder to work with film. Mm-hmm. Today they got multiple cameras and GoPros, and we'll let the editors figure it out. They're always rolling. It's infinite disk drive space. We'll shoot the rehearsal. I'm like, is there a take number on the slate for that? Then that's not a rehearsal, that's a take. Right. And it's abhorrent for me on a set now. Nothing has changed how you work on movies and TV more than digital capture. So silent, talkies, color, TV, all of that, it pretty much remained the same how the set rhythm was. And that all went out the window as soon as digital happened. You're always in character. You work 6 hours straight from call time to lunch. They're just rolling. At one point, they're rolling, and I'm like, "Are we cut?" And they go, "No, we sent wardrobe. You sent wardrobe to get a sweater for the actress from the trailer." Yeah, we're still rolling. And it's apparently easier to hand off a single synced sound file and just let the editors go in and chop that up. And are the movies better?
Right. That was going to be my next question. Do you feel they're better?
I mean, on the set, we didn't have playback. We didn't have video assist. How did they shoot movies like Goonies and Gremlins and Star Wars without a video monitor?
Right.
Like I said, are the movies better?
I mean, I can see, like, being able to see what you're doing, have that idea, but at the same time, when they're doing all the special effects, when they're doing all the computer stuff that has to come into it, you have to be really good at your blocking because there's not always something there in front of you. Whereas with, and I'm not a film expert by any stretch, so if I'm wrong, I want him to correct me, but whereas in the past, there would be an easier presence to work around in front of you, I would assume.
You mean like sitting in a limbo blue screen space or something like that?
Yeah, or just where if they're bringing something in, like they were filming the new Superman movie downtown, and there's a scene where like something is flying down, but there's nothing to look at, so you just have to react. In your experience, would there have been at least something to look at to come into play, or did you still have to do
we did Python, and they had a huge, like 4-foot Python head that was green screen, and then you could it's funny, they used like a Commodore 64 to do the graphics. It's all pixely and horrible, but they said the reason they did a snake food movie was because it's the simplest animation for a walk cycle. There's no limbs. You know, it was like easy for the computers to do that. But it's a great movie. Robert Englund, Billy Zabka, Jenny McCarthy, Will Wheaton.
It is a great movie.
Keith Coogan.
Terrifying. I'm not a snakes person. I can't do snakes. Now, with the Waltons is one of my favorite shows of all time. My mother almost named me Zebulon, so it's had like a dear place in my heart. With that start from TV and then into animation, and then more into the mainstream movies, was there a lot of adapting you had to do to the different approaches?
The biggest adaptation was trying to book film when all I had was TV experience. And so the bigger your TV resume gets, the more casting directors go, "Oh, you're too TV." And so I had auditioned for, but didn't book, The Shining, E.T., Goonies, Gremlins, Dream a Little Dream, License to Drive, Lucas, Christmas Story, The Toy. It's heartbreaking, but I got Adventures of Babysitting, Hiding Out, Cousins, Cheetah, all that other stuff. You get what you're right for, really. Right. And when I was doing this in the 80s, well, 70s and 80s and stuff, there were less kids. There were a handful of your age and the haircut and style or whatever, and so now there's 170,000 Screen Actors Guild members. There's 8,000 speaking roles a year, so it's tough. In Rosemary's Baby, where they curse the other actor to go blind so that he can get the part. That's true. That all actors are like that.
And when it came to getting into Fox and the Hound, you didn't work with Corey during that, right? You guys didn't cross paths on set or anything like that?
No, our scene partner was the assistant director, who also happened to have been doing the voice of Goofy at the time.
Oh, wow.
And if our energy was flagging or whatever, he'd just go, let's go let's do the next scene. And so it was also a weird process in that they're animating the movie as you go. And they did want the Fox and the Hound to age up a bit within the first act. Mm-hmm. So they would have us go in and do a scene or two. And we may have worked on the same days. It would just be like passing each other in the hall as one goes to school and the other is working. And the session's only 4 hours for voice, because you're doing a lot of screaming and crying and yelling sometimes, or also multiple voices. So we go in, we do a scene, and then wait 6 months. And then go back in and do a scene more. And they're animating as they're going. Sandy Duncan said by the third session, the girl fox's nose started to look like her nose. And it got delayed because of Don Bluth had left Disney and took a bunch of animators and forced Disney to shut down and hire new animators and train them and then finish the picture. And it had all the original, the last of the 9 original old wise men that did Pinocchio and Snow White. And it had the new breed of animators: Brad Bird, John Lasseter, Tim Burton.
There it is.
And and Tim Burton has had a great weird relationship with Disney. With Frankenweenie, they go, get off the lot. Then they go, could we actually develop that one? Could we do this? And then Nightmare, before Christmas. And then to do Dumbo, for him to direct Dumbo is just a fascinating 360 for him.
Absolutely.
There's always a lot of darkness in Disney movies anyway.
Dumbo especially, man. Dumbo is like soul crushing. And did the voice acting, not being in front of a camera, having to move around, how to run, like I'm sure there was some movement and everything to get into the character of it, but did you feel that for the movies the voice acting was helpful in preparing you, or was there still so much to learn for your future roles?
Oh, I didn't learn anything until high school theater. And around maybe 15, I made my stage debut at Beverly Hills Theater, Beverly Hills Playhouse, Miss Margarita's Way, which is about a teacher having a nervous breakdown. And I played a student in the audience that towards the end she starts to be, the audience is the class in this play. And after doing that, then I started doing theater in high school, and I had a double degree teacher. He was a theater, he had a theater doctorate and a film doctorate. And so that helped me understand the similarities and difference between, like theater was the bridge to get from TV to film. Once I kind of learned theater, and there was a specific technique he taught me, the 3-barrel technique to prepare a character. Once you jump over each of these barrels, you're now ready to do the character. Barrel number 1, the script. Everything that your character says and does. Great, easy. You read the script, everything your character says and does. Step number 2, everything that's said about the character. Because you might think you're a good guy, but everyone like, oh, they're terrible. Whatever, there could be something, a lie in there or something. And then the third one is time and place, occupation, setting, what city, what accent, what do they do for a living. Once you study all these things, then you know who the character is. And I use that specific, I have my notes and everything for Adventures of Babysitting. And also I have to really give it to Chris Columbus for going down. He really believed I was Brad. And so I appreciate him in that. And I got spoiled because Adventures of Babysitting was great. Pictured, long shoot, 3 months, nights. But it had all of the budget and support trailer of a bigger picture. Touchstone at that time were doing $10 million movies. Mm-hmm. Touchstone Pictures, financed by Silver Screen Partners 3, who got a 600% return on their money. It's the single most successful film investment company in the history of film. And the board was based out of Texas. And on that board was George Bush Jr. Couldn't run a ball team, couldn't run an oil field, but could certainly run a film financing fund. It was because of the strategy of not spending any money on them. And same budget as Stakeout, same budget as Down Out Beverly Hills or Ruthless People or any of those. Splash, all of that was in the same model.
That's amazing. And
remember, Disney didn't get a live action until Touchstone. They had a few, a Mary Poppins here, a Bedknobs and Broomsticks there, but they weren't animated. Disney then finally entered the market in live action. They disappeared for a while, and now they've come back in their 3rd or 4th box office ones.
Yeah. And just the cast on Adventures in Babysitting, like you guys were phenomenal. It was such a great cast, and you seemed through the screen to just mesh so well and get along so well. Like there was a connection that I felt you could really see between the characters in that movie. When it came to navigating the sets and like going to the city and everything, was there complications in keeping everybody organized, aligned with one another, or was it so streamlined and fast-paced that it just happened?
When you're on location with a film crew and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you've got cops here shutting down the whole intersection and fake snow, or you have to remove snow and then add fake snow after you remove I don't know, it's hard to explain. It devolves into a rabbit hole of your universe is just trying to get this page on the screen. The one thing that the benefit is you're all on the same page. Everybody sees, okay, this is what's happening in this scene, so all the departments know what's going on. We never went a day over budget or didn't get something we needed to shoot. We added stuff. We added the whole hot dog cart scene with Brenda was added because they go, we need one more cut of the Sankamp father and son editing team with the moviola and the flatbed with the white gloves. They're cutting the picture as we're shooting because we have a turnaround to release it 3 months after they shoot it. So there's they cutting. They go, we need this, we need that to Chris Columbus. And they go, we need another shot. So they built a quick bus station insert stage right in front of the parents' party set. And the parents' party set was already a rebuild of the Chop Shop set. So we shot the Chop Shop, then we left and did location stuff, and then while they redid it for the parents' party, and then they built the little insert, and they shot that in a minute. I mean, I went to the set that day, and the actor is the head of the extras union in Canada. And he was amazing. You don't have any cash and I don't have a wiener. And that's great dialogue in that scene.
And we were talking yesterday, you had like a little bit of a reunion with some of the cast recently. Do you all realize who played Thor in Adventures in Babysitting? It went right over my head. I never connected those dots. And you got to see some of the old castmates, you got to see him in the wild. What was it like getting everybody back together?
The relationships went back to exactly as they were 30 some odd years before that. It was the first time we were all in the room together. I'd seen Vincent and Maya and Anthony separately and stuff, and but Elizabeth Shue was like after the premiere, she's New York, so I just never really saw her. And it was amazing. It just felt great.
I feel like that's a movie that, with the popularity of reboots and things like that, that's a movie that we shouldn't touch, right?
It was rated G, Adventures of Babysitting, Disney Channel. It was the 100th Disney Channel original movie. And it's rated G, it's different.
And there's no cell phones. You can't just pick up the phone and call. Right? Like the technology to it.
She forgot her purse.
There you go.
I don't have my purse. So she doesn't have her phone. The kids don't have phones. I'm not going to trust Brad with a goddamn iPhone. They could try to Wi-Fi at a Starbucks or something. Sarah's got a phone. It's a burner. No one knows about it. But she doesn't have service. She only Wi-Fi's, right? Maybe it's an old iPod.
Yeah.
That only can Wi-Fi.
Okay. All right.
Toy Soldiers. They black out the school. They put radio interference, so our cell phones wouldn't work in getting in the info out anyway. Right. So I love this game. There's a thing in a Reddit forum that is like, redo movies today if there were cell phones.
And I want to talk about Toy Soldiers a little bit. Okay? How are you with dates? Like, do you pay attention to calendar dates, things like that, anniversaries, stuff like that?
I do. What's coming up?
Do you know what today is?
No.
Today is the anniversary of the theatrical release of Toy Soldiers.
No, it's not.
It is. So
that's ridiculous.
I was going down through this rabbit hole to prepare for this, make sure I had things aligned, and Toy Soldiers came out the same year as Adventures in Babysitting, right?
Okay.
Is that accurate?
April 26, 1991, 34 years ago. My God. That's crazy.
Right?
You got that.
I couldn't believe it.
All right, so aligned.
So, the both movies came out the same year, right?
Toy Soldiers and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitters.
Yes.
And Book of Love.
And Book of Love.
Oh,
Okay.
and
How did you manage to fit all that in your schedule with the quicker turnaround that you saw?
This is great because we shot Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And then I went off to go shoot Toy Soldiers in the fall of '90. But they released them in opposite order.
Yeah.
So they put Don't Tell Mom, they go, we're going to make that as summer release, I think they did. And Toy Soldiers was moved up to spring, to April. Yeah.
When you were making those movies, did you have any kind of feelings, opinions on which one would be the one, the bigger one of?
This sounds weird because as an actor you really don't have control, but you might fool yourself into thinking you do. So I've always wanted to be a career character actor. And so that you love something to blow up, that's fantastic.
Absolutely.
But really the main thing is you want to be good to your producers, your financiers, you want movies to make their money, and you want audiences to be entertained. So honestly, the pressure's off when it's lower budget. When it's lower budget, you have a lot more fun on set, you can get more creative, take more risks, certainly entertain your audience, there's no obstacle there. The more money that comes in, the more notes from the studio, the more you gotta kind of water stuff down. And Toy Soldiers is the perfect blend of hard R. It's the last of the hard R action movies of like the 80s, 90s, before we went on PC. And it's got the good, bullet hit head like shots. And it's I love it. It's a banger. The last 15 minutes of Toy Soldiers is honestly just, now you would never remake that today.
Right.
However, I have a good remake idea, Girl Soldiers.
Yeah?
Well, we all have daughters, right? Right, obviously. Louise Calley's niece escapes a Colombian prison. She comes up, and not only did Billy Tepper and her boys, the mob had killed her grandfather in jail, but then the Pentagon and Billy Tepper killed her father, so she's gonna get some skins. So she invades the school, and we get texts, the dads. Oh, and Will Wheaton is playing Jimmy Trotta, who's Joey Trotta's twin brother. He's a made man, so he's got a little mafia princess girl in the school too. And they contacted, don't call the authorities, they kidnapping the school, taking over. We gotta go save our daughters, so we rush off to the school, immediately get taken and held hostage. Our daughters have escaped into the woods and are living Red Dawn style off Rambo, right? And they get word that we're held hostage, and our daughters have to break back into the school to rescue us. No helicopters, no grenades, no explosions, bladed weapons and MMA only. Give me $300,000 and 3 weeks rehearsal with these girls, and let's make a movie.
That'd be amazing. So, I told you I had a surprise for you.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Now, I tried a few things when I figured out the date was today. But I figured out, with not much time to play around, right? So I messaged Sean Astin, Will Wheaton. I decided to go ahead and message Corey Feldman as well.
Yes,
just to be
he's not talking to me right now.
And do you know which one of them got back to me?
Sean.
No, none
Bill.
of them. None of them got back to me.
Not a goddamn one.
But I expected that, obviously. I found something else that we're going to see how this goes. I found something else. And I gave it to you upside down. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. What do you want to do? You want
Just
to open it? Go for it.
open it on up.
Here we go. Oh my God.
And as the pieces fall into play, if you know,
Oh, this is fantastic. So this is the real material from the Miller School of Albemarle, right? Okay. 1881 it was founded. And I think it was an active military cadet school, male only, when we were going there. But I hear it's co-ed now.
yes,
And it's also on the cover of the DVD for Major Payne, same school.
I did not know that.
It took months to build the quad wall. That is a plywood and fiberglass wall, because there's only the main buildings in the school. There's no quad to hold them in with the C3. What the hell is C3? When I watch Toy Soldiers, I'm like, all action movies use C4, and here you see the bombs wired with C3. I'm like, well, that's an interesting detail. I got the movie. I was talking to Dan Petrie Jr., the director, on the phone. I was close, and we had an hour conversation just talking about Tom Clancy books and Red Storm Rising and Hunt for October, and we really bonded on that. Look at that.
So, a lot of actual swag from the Miller School of T-shirts. Dude, this is amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the school where the movie was filmed. It's still open, as he said. It's a co-ed school. And with that anniversary coming up, that was something that I 3 o'clock in the morning, I was going to reach out to the school and see what they can do.
I can't believe it.
Awesome. So, all right. Those of you here for the panel.
It's the anniversary of Toy Soldiers coming out. Sorry, I'm in the middle of a panel. And I just got a great gift. Thank you, man.
You are very welcome.
It is swag from the Miller Academy in Albemarle, where they shot Toy Soldiers. Look at that. There's the bell tower. Fuego! Thank you.
You're very welcome.
That's amazing.
So, with the movies you know him from, the movies that you know and love, what are some of the questions that you have? What are some of the things you're dying to know?
How long did it take to film the Babysitting Blues?
Babysitting Blues took 2 days to film. We recorded the song on a Sunday at some famous Chicago recording studio. Chris Columbus was all jazzed. He's the one that added the whole blues element and all that stuff. So we walk into the studio, and they're finishing the 12-bar blues shuffle with Albert Cullen and the Icebreakers. And they did it in one take. So then we get in and we start they do the music for it right in front of us. And then we one by one did our parts. I think Lisa went first, and she did the babysitting lead. And they wanted her to belt and sing, but not really be like a singer. But she's so great in that. And then we did our, babies in the back, and did our dialogue and everything. And all the dialogue too, we did there in the studio. In 16 hours, they made a temp mix of it. And so that on Monday morning at Fitzgerald's Bar and Grill, which is where, same location in Color of Money where Paul Newman gave the Balabushka to Tom Cruise. That's the same bar as the Blues Club bar. We shot for 2 days with 3 Panavision cameras, 2 of them Panavision Platinums, and we shot 13,000 feet of film. We never shot little inserts. We did the entire scene from walking on stage to leaving the bar in one single take with 3 cameras. And then they picked the best take of the 2 days and then cut it together with other stuff. And they shot 13,000 feet of film. Most movies released are about 11,000. So we shot enough footage to be more than a whole movie. And we had no idea, because Chris Columbus always is like the frat club stuff, the L Train sequence, and the babysitting blues. They have to really work, and we're like, I don't know if this blues thing is gonna work. So we were very proud of the babysitting blues.
And the one movie we haven't talked about really, Don't Tell Mom Babysitter's Dead. First off, with babysitting kind of being that theme between those two, it's interesting, right? That those are like 2 of the more popular movies that both involve the babysitters. Were you mean to your babysitters growing up? Like, is that a common theme?
Never had a babysitter. I was left
Okay.
alone at 12 while the parents went to Palm Springs.
Okay.
They're like, do your chores and whatever, and don't get in trouble.
Did you do your chores?
Yeah, last minute.
In what fashion?
Oh, I had to edge the lawn and I had a lot of chores. To make sure that I was grounded, I had to get good grades in school or else I lose my work permit and my Screen Actors Guild card, and everybody's out of a job. We can't pay the rent, actually that was a mortgage, so I was paying the mortgage. We can't buy cars, we can't, keep up whatever lifestyle it was. And you still have to go do PR or whatever for your stuff. I had bleeding ulcers at 12. I loved it though, I wouldn't trade a day. I know Will, and I'm so sorry you did not enjoy it. Will he did not. He was abused, and I loved every day I was on a set. And because it was an escape from the life at home that may not have been the picture perfect life, right?
That's actually really interesting to hear. Especially if you've read Will Wheaton's book, or if you've heard that. That's a great connection there.
I have the annotated, the additional one. Will's writing is fantastic.
It really
He's always
is.
been a great storyteller.
And hearing that, that difference in experience is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And your family had somewhat of an idea of what to expect with the Hollywood move.
They knew exactly what to expect.
Right.
My grandfather said that the entertainment industry is cyclical, and that you're going to go up, you're going to go down. He didn't read any press. He didn't care what anybody thought. In terms of connections, I was running around Hollywood, and people would learn I'm Jackie Coogan's grandson, and half of the time they go, "Oh, Jack," and the other half of the time they go, "Oh, Jack." So it helps and it hurts.
Okay.
Because people have big personalities,
Yeah.
and.
Did he give you any kind of advice?
Watch your money and be careful of mothers.
I think that's amazing.
Show up on time. Don't bump into the furniture. Don't be a loudmouth kid on a set. Nobody wants to hear what a 10-year-old has to say on a set. If you see a problem, danger, then go, "Excuse me, I think that's going to be a problem." And think. So at 8, I'm like, you're painting yourself into the corner with coverage. So when you do her close up, you're going to be pushed up against that wall. You're not going to be able to get a better key light right. And they go, "What the?" So I was 8 going on 40 because I'd been doing the episodics of Movies of the Week, and that's what I loved about movie making, was the illusion on the day of the fake flats in the walls and then all the real cables and hardware that it took behind the scenes to get the image on film. And I love to see actors panic when they roll. They're so cool in real life, hey, and they're hot, and their agents on them, and they're rising, and then you go rolling, and they just fall apart. And I love that, and I would love seeing these adults. I go, I really don't feel, I'll do my best, and if they like it, then you don't do another one. They go cut, print, moving on. And I loved hearing that. I loved hearing cut, print, moving on. Love that. Check the gate.
Yeah.
Loved hearing
No,
it as a kid.
You're good.
Yeah, I don't like doing it over and over again. And they learned that quick. That's why I was one take Coogan. They're like, we're not going to get him to do anything different, so just move on.
And you had with Don't Tell Mom Babysitter's Dead, iconic line. You have to say it probably 50 or 60 times a day at these conventions.
Absolutely.
But it's known, right? You had
Dishes
the
are done,
coolest
man.
look in that entire movie, and it's iconic.
I got really lucky in that the line buttonholed the trailer. So for the week before the movie came out in the summer of 1991, they played that trailer to death. And at the very end is the dishes. You didn't have to see the movie, and you knew the line.
And is everybody aware that there's reboot of Don't Tell Mom Babysitter's
Remake.
Dead?
It is a remake. 3 of the original cast members have cameos. We shot it at the original house, and I've never seen a more loving remake of a film ever. Same producer. It's fantastic.
Give us like your experience definition of remake versus reboot. What's like the clear-cut definition?
Remake versus reboot?
Yeah. Reboot's just you bring everybody back and continue, and remake is starting over.
Reboot is you do keep some of the same elements. So this Han Solo is Han Solo. We're rebooting Star Wars. Remake is Battlestar Galactica. You remade Battlestar Galactica. That has nothing, none of the cast. You're not saying that that's Starbuck or anything like that. Did they use any original cast members in the series when they did Battlestar Galactica?
I
don't think so. So that is a remake.
Gotcha.
A
Okay.
reboot would be like we're taking some of the same ingredients and throwing more ingredients into the pot, and
All right.
we're
I
Anthony
always-
Bourdaining this shit.
I feel like I always get that wrong, so thank you. We needed the professional answer there.
Reboots. Well, Kevin Smith covered this great in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. He has
That's
a
fair.
speech where he goes reboots, remakes.
Yeah.
What is the other ones? They have to be young. They have to be diverse.
Yeah, he does break it down.
And they have to be young. Who wants to see a 55-year-old babysitter?
I'm just saying, I think the ability to still do the dishes in your style after all those years stands out. I think that's great. I think bringing it back just for that specific moment is warranted and necessary.
Well, it's a different moment for the thing, absolutely. But they redo the moment in the movie, and they use a baseball bat. It's fantastic.
I believe it. Any other questions from out here? Like I feel like I've been ignoring you, and I'm sorry, but we want to hear your questions as well.
Okay, what's your most funniest, memorable moment in any film that you've been in, and have you ever taken anything from a set?
I took toys when I did toy commercials, and we would, sometimes they'd give you the prototype or the toy or the figure or whatever, and sometimes they wouldn't.
Now, were these toys before they were released?
Yeah.
Were doing like the early commercials?
So I'm like doing
Oh.
Sucker Man, and they won't give me a Sucker Man, because the one they have is like hot glued together, and the suckers keep falling off. They're like, we haven't made the final one. And my mom was pissed. She's like, we're getting a Sucker Man. So we're like about to leave the kitchen set. And she goes, oh, these are great. She throws it across the room to the fridge, and it sticks great on the fridge. But this fridge is right by the door to get off the set. So then we're saying goodbye to everywhere. Then on the way out, we're like, sucked that thing off the fridge and took it home. I still have that Sucker Man doll. I didn't really ever keep wardrobe props. I kept the stupidest stuff, like the whistle from Cheetah. There's like a whistle that I blow. I'm like, why did I keep that? The rock that I put on the rhino, I kept that. I have this little red rock that I put on the rhino.
I think that's cool. I like that kind of stuff.
It was a real rhino, and it was pretty. I go, what? How's the trick? And they go, you're gonna walk up and you're gonna put the rock on the rhino. I go, well, huh? They always nap between 2 and 4. They won't even wake up. What? That was crazy.
Where was that film?
Africa.
Filmed? Okay, I
We went
assumed.
to Nairobi, Tanzania. We went to Masai Mara, treetops. Devil's Gate, all of the locations of Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, and out of Africa, with a lot of the same British expats as crew.
Amazing.
Amazing. We shot in 30 days.
Was that
Animals, kids, and exotic locations. It was the W.C. Fields trifecta.
right? That.
And the director had shot the helicopter footage for The Shining, which was used in Blade Runner in the first cut. Oh, I know!
Amazing. And what was the first part of your question? Great memories?
Yeah, just the memorable moment or anything in any really film?
My
Or
God.
funniest moment or whatever.
You know what? What do you talk about? Do you talk about having to learn a bunch of how to do the Lindsay Hop for Book of Love, and then you get to do it at some VFW hall in the middle of Pasadena with everyone dressed in '50s garb, and moments like with the Oscars, getting to do the Oscars, Dancing with Lloyd Bridges, that got me on the Oscars. But Cousins, I got to do, Love Man with him, and I'm doing his hair as he's getting ready for a date. That was an amazing moment. I can't even, John Cryer hiding out every day that I got to see this, basically the producer of the damn thing, work a 16-hour day, be at dailies, on all the locations, doing everything on the movie, and I'm like, I barely know my lines. How the hell is he? He's barely getting any sleep. So I was always blown away. My co-stars have always been amazing. I just shooting the new remake of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. It's just great to be on the set. I can't. There's nothing that really sticks out. Even the tough times on a set. If you want to hear an actor complain, give them work. But they're all Africa with a cheetah. The cheetah was an animal actor from San Fernando Valley, but all the other animals were from Africa. All great memories. I couldn't single one out. I'm so sorry. See how I did that?
That was good. I liked it a lot. Now, yeah.
Did you do any pranks or anything, or anybody prank you?
The rule on set is you cannot kill time or money. You can't destroy any sort of prop or item of clothing that's going to be used in the scene. Time is the big thing. If you burn a take or whatever, I'll never forget Nuno Betancourt on, what the heck was the name of that movie? Anyway, he had worn a bra of what Michelle Williams was wearing. She was supposed to get drunk and do the stripper thingy, and then he was supposed to support her by going and picking her up and taking her out. Instead, he walks in and he takes off his shirt and he's got her bra on. He just burned this long 1.5 minute take, and we're all like, what you do not do that. So off camera, behind the scenes, Starman, on the day off on Saturday, I'm supposed to be the evil bad guy against Christopher Daniel Barnes' good guy, and Amy Dolan's was on an episode, and I'm alone. I'm already 16 and not emancipated, but I had graduated, so I could work as an adult, and so I'm alone. We're up in Central California. Well, I'm bored Saturday morning, and I want to play with Chris, so I climbed the balcony on his hotel, and I opened his hotel door, and he's freaked out. My parents were called. They had some family that was in Salinas or near the Bay Area come and set sit me. I didn't need it, but apparently I did. But it was I was in character. I was trying to not scare him, but he was I was kind of freaked out. I talked to him about that still. That was a crazy thing. I'll do little things in character, maybe, but I'm not leaving a dead rat. I'm not playing the Joker.
And with your resume, with movies you've done, there have been a couple horror, Python and your Cleveland Meth movie, right?
Yeah.
Is horror just a genre that you never really felt attached to, or you appreciate the more humor, comedy stuff more?
I really did audition for a lot of horror, especially right after the kind of the peak, Halloween's and Friday the 13th when I was up for final chapter. So you get close, and I really do want to do more horror, straight up terrify people. I'll never get involved in that. They have to go SAG, but because the horror people are very passionate and they're very fetishistic. They will buy the toy and the doll and the Blu-ray and the DVD and the poster. Have a little ownership in that because it's something that more niche talks to them. We're all now. Look, my family. They were in the Addams Family, Uncle Fester. And I think that show's a little darker than the Munsters. The Munsters was more making fun of Hammer horror and their caricatures. Addams Family's some dark stuff, but fun and true.
Yeah.
You can't have true love unless you also have the truth of darkness too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now we gotta make sure we end this on a happy note. I don't want to ask sad things, but what kind of regrets or things that you wish you could have done slightly differently? Are there like top 3 things that I wish I would have done this, or this differently?
I mean, there's all, you never know. There's so much luck involved in it too. So reading a different take on something, or I don't know. I've always stood up for people on set if something was wrong. I can't. The one
That's
thing
good, though.
that people have asked about, and it's an IMDb trivia thingy. I had done you do a 3-picture deal for Disney. Everybody signed them, and it doesn't mean you're going to do more pictures after Adventures of Babysitting. It just means that they've already nailed down the billing and the credit and the trailer and money. So it's funny. I was doing a series of radio interview thingies, advertising an anniversary of Fox and the Hound, and after one of the interviews, hi, Keith, this is Amanda from Disney. Could you please not talk financials? I'm like, oh, yes, ma'am, yes. So Disney is always listening. But I won't. I'm not going to violate any of that. So it's just that they do. The 3-picture deal is pretty common. And Elizabeth Shue's second picture was Cocktail. Mine, I had a choice. You could do 5 weeks in Africa for Cheetah, or your really close son on Air from the Kids, which was 6 months in Mexico City.
Oh, wow.
Same amount of money for both.
And you got to hang out with the cheetah.
Same amount of money for both. So
That's insane.
5 weeks for X amount of dollars, or 6 months for X amount of dollars. I never do a movie just for money, by the way. That forever Ghost of a Love Story, I'm looking at you.
But you also got to hang out with the cheetah, though.
The cheetahs were wonderful. They were brother and sister, and you could pet them, you could hug them, let them lick your face. Although Lucy Deakins had a terrible cat allergy, and it licked her face, and it swelled up.
Oh,
like
no.
someone took sandpaper to it. It was terrible.
That's insane.
We were just, jacking her up with antihistamines. It was really incredible doing Cheetah, because we flew around in little like puddle jumper planes and rode out into the bush on a real skeleton crew. It's funny, we get to do, after Cheetah, I get on the set of Toy Soldiers, and I look over and I go, Tom Burston is the same cameraman for both movies.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Having those kind of connections. And I think it also speaks to you about your character that you noticed that, right?
Not character like a movie character.
No, like you as a
I'm a film nerd.
Yeah,
I love aspect ratio. I love I love how economics of making movies has changed how movies were made. From the big budget 50s and 60s studio pictures to, we're broke as a studio. We can afford $2 million. Give a handheld to one of these new kids, De Palma, Cimino, whatever. That 70s auteur. I was raised on American Graffiti and Jaws. So that's where I love Hooper and Stuntman. I love behind the scenes stuff. The studio, right now, Seth Rogen is the greatest making of movies, behind the scene movies about producers and stuff that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love that. I'm passionate about making movies.
Yeah.
I love it. I love movies and I love making them.
And if you've talked to him at his table, I'm sure you've already caught that, right? That was one of the greatest things about the conversations that we were having yesterday. Because yesterday, we went a little, I'm going to call it a road trip, because if you're from this area, you realize getting in and out of this area takes longer than you would anticipate. Westlake's a very strange way it navigates. But we got to have that conversation and get that understanding of the care and the attention that you pay to those things. And I love that. I think that's fantastic. I also think it's great that you didn't have, these are the 3 things that I regret the most and would change immediately. I think that also says
I don't know.
things.
I'm sure. And I'm also not going to be like, oh no, I did everything perfect. I don't know. I mean, tons of screw ups.
But that's good though, because that helped develop you into who you are, right?
Yeah.
You live and learn for the most part. I mean, some of that stuff sucks, I'm sure, but
I just live. I don't know about learning. I'm just trying to survivor, man. That Irish bloodline that came from a family that was working in the railways out of Syracuse. One idiot went into pharmacy, which was probably meant like drugs, alcohol, I don't know. They were probably feeling good. And then one of those offshoots of the family said, I want to go to vaudeville. And he wanted to, go to Broadway, and he wound up in vaudeville, and that was my great-grandfather. And now it's been 4 generations of actor, writer, people, show people, who it's hard to enjoy art because you're always dissecting it. Mm-hmm. But that's the difference between really great art and movie someone made. Because if it's just a movie someone made, you kind of see the clumsy plotting and character, you go, oh, that could have been done smoother, or
Right.
you're judging the, I can tell how they lit it or something. If it's really good, you're not thinking about any of that. You're pulled in, you're invested. There's a magic, there's some greater than its parts to great filmmaking.
Yeah.
And I know every movie's great, but just because it was made, it's really hard to make a movie.
But every movie's great, but Fox and the Hound, Toy Soldiers, Don't Tell My Babysitter's Dead, Adventures in Babysitting, and the rest of them are greater.
He's just listing my IMDb top 4, so and maybe why, because maybe there was some sort of quality to them.
Hey. And Python. I'll throw a curveball in there.
Python. We used to make this little double finger like snake fang list on behind. So when we still see each other, Zap, Dana, Baron, we'll go Python. With their little 2 fangs.
Are there any final questions from all of you out there? Anything that you want to ask, gotta know? Awesome.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for stopping in and listening to this conversation. Thank you so much for being here
Absolutely.
and for having this conversation. And I hope that the rest of the weekend treats you well and that you have safe travels home and all that fun stuff.
Heck yeah. Rock and roll. Thank you guys. Oh, and go watch Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, the remake.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Yay! Thanks, man. Oh, thank you for the Miller School stuff. That's great.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Don't forget to mark your calendars for September 26th, 27th, and 28th, when we'll celebrate all things Wes Craven. Can't wait to see you again at the Wyndham Garden, Westlake.